the image that kind of comes to mind is just being buried. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen like a movie or a mystery show or something like that, where someone gets locked, stuck in a coffin and then thrown into a hole and then they bury him. It almost feels like that. If you don't know what's going on, my wife, for a long time in our life, has been going through mental health struggles, right? So behind the scenes, you've probably seen it on stream where all of a sudden I have to end early or I'm kind of falling apart, and you're like, "Are you? You look tired, Ninja. There's some stuff going on," and I'm like, "There's stuff going on." And for 4 years, I talked about sort of life outside of the room, right? Like there's life in here, which is manageable, I guess what you'd say. Like I can handle it, and I'm pretty good at it, and good things are happening. But then outside. There was always some stuff, so difficult stuff, and that's all I could say, right? That's all I could say was there tough stuff going on, and that tough stuff was so catastrophic at times that it was breaking me up, and so it kind of came to a head last week. So let's say last Friday. So things were bad, things were worse, things were bad, things were worse. It's only gotten progressively worse as more hospital trips and more, medication. Bad stuff, but suffice to say there was a lot of bad things happening, and it was getting worse, and the worst things were getting worse. And then about last week on Friday, it kind of came to a head where I had enough. And to be frank, I sent a message to a friend like, I don't want to be here anymore. I want out. I can't take it anymore. There's no hope left in me at all for this situation. And their response was, I'm going to get on that give, send, go. You need a break. She needs, some really dedicated care. And I said, do what you want, man. Like it's $27,000 that we need to raise over the course of a weekend. Like, go nuts, And so, but what we needed to happen is we need to get her permission to share. Like, because you can't just say, hey, we got stuff going on. Can you send us, a big pile of money? No, you have to share what's going on. And so she finally allowed her story to be told a little bit. And I have posts. So if you go to my website, !web, there's 2 posts right now. One that kind of explains the situation from my perspective and what she's allowed to re-release and stuff like that. And then another one that's an update. I'll write another one today, just kind of with, the updated, another update. But suffice to say, on Friday, I was done. And then she started this thing, kicked it off. I think it took her a whole day to figure this thing out, and kind of writing stuff and rewriting and getting it out there. And then we just launched it, right? Poof, launch. And so I did my part, which was basically, writing, which is the thing I'm kind of good at, and the story, and then sending it out. And it's just kind of like one post. Like, I don't have much in the tank, right? So I'm like, here, post for the internet, post for the blog, share one place. Normally, if I was raising money for someone else, you'd have inundated, a bunch of places, and you call a bunch of folks and whatnot. And I don't have it. So she was like my friend who was running the Give, Send, Go. She was doing that. She was making calls and like calling schools and calling friends and calling former churches and things like that. And in the meantime, she's dying. Like, she got super sick while running this thing. I'm like, of course you did, right? And I've told you before, if anybody who's on my side gets annihilated, it just comes with the territory. And so as soon as she said yes to help me, she ended up getting, she caught death. Like, it was good. She in bed, doing this stuff from bed, dead as a doornail. And we were able to raise, within 3 days, we raised $17,000. Now, to be able to put her into the facility for 60 days cost 27. But what they did is they allowed us to have the 30 days for the first cost. And then if we can raise the rest, she can stay in for the 60. So that's what we're doing right now. So we have right now raised $19,882 as of today. Okay. So if you go to the Give, Send, Go, I think you'll see 11,000. I had some folks send directly to me, right? They're like, well, I don't want to use the Give, Send, Go, and here, into my account. And so after that, we, add all that together. We need to raise another 7 to 9 kind of thing, depending on how taxes and service fees go. It's like we need $15,250 or something like that, plus the previous one, which was 17,000 something. right? So that's over 30. but I'm like, okay, we'll see what we can do here. There are more donations incoming. I've had some people saying that they want to donate and they want to help out and whatnot, and so they're kind of trying to get it together. Like I had a friend who from somewhere in the world who was like, I tried to give, I couldn't give, and now the bank is closed. So I'll talk to you on Monday. And they had to like literally call their bank and be like, you got, because you got blocked with fraud. Same thing happened to my parents, I think. Yeah. And so they had to call and, get permission. So they did. And off we go. So we've got more coming in. So theoretically, by God's grace, we'll be able to raise the extra, hopefully within a week. That'd be nice. I want to be able to get it to them as soon as possible so she can be settled into knowing how long she'll be there. So that was something. Yesterday was rough. So the thing is an hour away. We left at 4:30 because of course we did, straight through Ottawa traffic at the worst possible time of day, because that's just how it worked out. Fine, whatever. She packed her bags, we got it all together, and we drove. We got to the place, and the rapidity actually really impacted our family. Like how fast everything came together really, really hit everybody. To my kids, like, okay, mom's getting ready to go. And like one kid was like, what do you mean? Like now? I thought what, and I'm like, yeah, now. Like she's got the money. We're setting it up. We're putting her in the car soon, and we're taking off because she's in school. The other two are working. My son was going to go to work, and he's like, I'm not going to work today. I'm going to go drive with mom and drop her off and say goodbye, because that's important to me, because things were happening so fast. Praise God, because we needed it to happen really fast. But all of a sudden my kid's like, really? She's gone? And what? Gone? And so, yeah, poof, we're just there. And I drive in to the facility, and we get out, take out our bags, put them on the entryway thingy. The manager pulls up. She'd been out somewhere, and she pulls up after like a minute, looks at us. Hi, how are you? Friendly thing. Looks at Anita. Are you ready to go? My wife goes, yeah. Okay. Say goodbye to your family and, kiss, hug. And then, okay, bye. She won't be talking to you for 2 weeks. Click, click. Like, that's how fast it was. And so I'm sitting in the car, and I'm like spun. You do what anybody does. You just kind of go on autopilot, right? Just like, that's it. We're going home. And my kid's trying to talk to me, and I'm just like, 7 million thoughts are in my brain and 0 thoughts at the same time. And I'm like, that was a lot. And it's a weird mix of emotions. I remember when my son died, or before he'd left, it was really abusive and really horrible. Right. And every communication with him for like a year and a half was just really bad. It was mean. It was angry, manipulative. It was terrible. Like before he left, he would beat me up, like physically beat me up on a regular basis. It was bad. And so when all of a sudden, like we're sitting down, I was sitting down here on stream, and all of a sudden, knock on the door, just, someone's at the door. Dad, you better come upstairs. There's the cops. And, comes in and like tells family. And of course, my wife just kind of breaks down or whatever. And, there's this mixed emotion that I've been dealing with ever since. And it is the loss, loss of a son, loss of family member, loss of someone, the memories that, good stuff of a child, because he was a kid, and the relief of all the misery in his life and all the bad stuff and the bad decisions and the just yuck that was part of that was, it's over now. Right. I remember we had to go down to, like, that was super hard. We went down to get his stuff and see where he was living, because we weren't, allowed down there. And we went in there. It was so sort of like quintessentially miserable. Open the fridge, it's empty except for like a stack of like 5 giant packs of cheese. And then, the dishes were gross and the floor was gross. And we're looking for it, like his, all of his stuff. Like, where's his stuff? And went into bedroom, we're looking through his stuff, opened the bottom drawer, and there's all the government issued heroin material. Because in Canada, if you want to be a junkie, you just go to the government and they will give you free needles and they'll give you the free little spoons. Did you know they come in rainbow colors? that sucks. Open it, and it's just getting miserable. And he has nothing. We took everything he had that we took with us, fit in a single grocery bag. He didn't have anything. He's just a sad, miserable guy. So the relief on that side, like the literal relief of going, I'm glad he's out of that. I tell that story because when I dropped her off, and all of a sudden he's like, boom, fast, right? From I don't want to be doing this anymore to talking to my friend, like utter hopelessness, confusion, feeling trapped. I don't know what to do. Where am I going to go? And like, I'm just like, everything is, I feel trapped. I feel hopeless. It's just miserable. So I call my friend. My friend, starts the GoFundMe. The GoFundMe goes, pew, or not GoFundMe, Give Send Go, pew, up through the, within like 3 days, we've raised the money. She's been in the hospital the whole time. And the doctor says she can go from the hospital straight there. So she, comes home, packs her stuff, goes there. From pulling up to goodbye, maybe 6 minutes, and poof, click, gone. Now I'm sitting in the car, and it was very similar in the feeling of sadness, right? Could be married for 27 years, 28, married in 97. You do the math. I still love my wife, obviously, despite all the troubles, and that now she's gone. You can't talk to her for 2 weeks. Gone. Come home. And here I am driving there, and I'm reeling. So funny sad story. All my stories are bad. Anyway, so when I was visiting my wife in the hospital when this first started, so when this whole first thing kind of blew up forever ago, and remember, like the starting of the digital ministry and her descent, or were almost synonymous, right? Like when God started going, you need to do something special, something different. I'm taking you out of the traditional church and putting you into digital ministry, and that's where I want you to be. The spiritual attacks in my home went up by 10 billion%. And so she ends up in the hospital for 12 weeks, and she wants me there. And yet my kids are too young, right? They're still young. And so this would have been before I started, but still right around that time where everything's kind of being thought about. And so I'm in the hospital, or I'm at home. And when I'm at home, I'm not with her in the hospital. And when I'm at the hospital, I'm not at home with my kids. I'm always in the wrong spot. And I felt miserable at, 12 weeks. But on the way, I'd built this habit that on the way home, if things were really bad, like if it was a really rough night, I'm like, I'm going to go eat some hot meat. I want hot meat. The only thing open at like 11:30 at night, or midnight, or whenever the heck I was, whenever it was dark and I'm out, the only thing open was McDonald's. So swing through McDonald's, and I'd get a chicken sandwich, like a cheap chicken sandwich, and eat that on the way home. And it became sort of this kind of chicken sandwich equals sad moment. And it was very consistent for a long time, and so I just sort of had this connection. And then yesterday, so this is the part that was interesting, and I never even thought about it till it happened, and that is we were driving home, and I just get a hankering for a chicken sandwich, completely unconsciously, not even thinking about that, right? I'm like, let's hit Popeyes on the way home. Let's just hit Popeyes on the way home. So you go into Popeyes and have a chicken sandwich, and then on the way, like literally, my brain is like, you're having a chicken sandwich after a really hard, sad moment with your wife, who is now locked into a place just like it was before. Except, and this was the funny part to me anyway, was the fact that I was having like really cheap McDonald's sandwiches when she was in the public health care, and now that she's in like this really fancy facility, I went for a Popeyes chicken, which was more expensive and a little fancier. And I thought that was ironic and funny. So we are right now still trying to raise the rest of it. Like I said, about $7,000 to $9,000, depending on how you want to, $7,000 to get to the 27. But then they didn't tell us about taxes and stuff, so it's actually like more like 9. But still, that's what we're still trying to raise, and that's what's still got to happen so we can get her in for the full 60 days. And I can totally understand why 60 days, especially at the speed. like hospital stay, boom, now you're in this place. It would take a little while to decompress. You know, it'd take a little while to figure out where you are and get to know some folks and whatnot. And it was really difficult because it's hard not to think that this is the solution, right? We thought that in the previous hospital. So she went and stayed 3 months. I don't know if she's there 3 months, like just recently. It was actually over Christmas. She missed Christmas at our house. She wasn't here for Christmas because she was in a place. And that we thought that was good. That was supposed to be the, you know, the top-notch government care, and it was the worst. It was really bad, and I felt terrible for her. And this doctor, it felt like he didn't know what he was doing and did not care. And so pulled her out of that. And so we had like, okay, you're going for this thing. You're going for these treatments. You're going for, you know, going to this really fancy hospital. This should help, right? And it only made everything worse. Really, really bad. And now, you know, like we're in this new private facility, locked in for a while, dedicated care. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying not to say, this is it. This is going to be great. And it'll solve everything, because I know that's dumb. But at the same time, once you're at the point where you've been through every treatment and everything, and now you're at the, you know, the most expensive, most privatest thing. And it's Christian, by the way. You know, they have a Christian care there. You know, of all places to be, that's the place to be. But what now, right? What now? And I don't know, and I don't want to put too much hope on, and I don't want to put pressure on her. Like, go get better, or else, right? Like, this is it. Come out better, or we're done. Like, because that's not fair. That's not how that works. But yeah. So that's the update. Thank you. I guess thank you very much for anybody who donated, anybody who was part of it, anybody who helped or shared, you know, or prayed. Like, all of that helps. All of that matters. All of that brings her care that we couldn't otherwise have gotten her at a time where things were really, 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 really bad. So you were integral to that. I'm very thankful.